All right. So, guys, let's begin. So, last lecture, we guys had discussed about polymorphism. Now, in today's lecture, we'll continue further. Okay. And we are going to discuss about more things like polymorphism. Overriding concept is what we have seen. Okay. So, if you just go to your notes, Control F, let us search for polymorphism. Let's quickly do a recap of it. Now you notice we discussed about polymorphism. We started with a definition. Here we develop a feature such that it can take more than one form depending on situation. Polymorphism is applicable only on methods and not variables. Now there are types of polymorphism. We have overriding. So here we modify the logic of inherited method in child class, and we saw how does this happen with some examples, right? And then we studied @override annotation. This will help us to check overriding is happening or not. Okay, so to check overriding is happening or not, we started with @override annotation. And then after, we people discussed about access specifiers and the impact of that on your overriding concept. Correct? So now we are going to look at the next question. Then we discussed about static members. They are not inherited. Since inheritance cannot happen, overriding also cannot happen. After that, we have then discussed about, okay, no, we have not discussed about overloading, but we have discussed about several examples with access specifiers. Now we are going to look at overloading. See, overriding is called as runtime polymorphism. Overriding is called as runtime polymorphism. Now what is runtime polymorphism? Overriding. And overloading is compile time polymorphism. So sometimes in interview, they will ask you what is runtime polymorphism and what do you mean by compile time polymorphism. Are you understanding now? What is runtime polymorphism and what do you mean by compile time polymorphism? You will get the interview questions like this. Now overloading is very similar to constructor overloading. Okay, constructor overloading we have already seen. Now we'll see method overloading. What is method overloading? So method overloading is all about, in the same class you will create a method with the same name more than once, provided they have different number of arguments. They have, so let's just go to perspective and reset. Suppose your window has changed, then you do this and you'll get back your original window. Okay, now we are going to look at here overloading. Overloading is again a very simple concept. Let's say I have here class A, control1 rename. Now in this class we are going to write here public void test method which has 0 arguments. If I now create one more method with 0 argument, error. But if I change the number of argument, this is what was constructor overloading. Yes or no? Okay, that is what was constructor overloading, right? So now whenever you people are going ahead and doing method overloading, ensure the number of arguments and the type of arguments are different. So let's paste this in here. Now let's type int x comma int y. Fine. So now number of arguments 0, 1 and 2. No error. Or the type of argument to be different. The type is int. I will change this to string. So like this, when multiple methods are created with same name, but number of arguments are different, this is also polymorphism, because it is the method test taking multiple forms. Example, I want to send an email. Let's say public void, and what I want is now I want to send email. I want to send email. So I will supply to the string to email address, and then string, let me supply here the next thing is the subject, and then string the message of email. This is what I want to do it now. So this method, when I call, it will take the to email address to whom to send an email, what is the subject of email and message, and this will simply print a message sent. But I might have one more requirement to send an email with attachment. So I'll give you a string attachment where you'll attach a file, and this will be sent with attachment. Sent with attachment. Are you understanding now? So if you observe here, public void send email, string to field subject message, string to field subject message attachment. Method is same, but the purpose of method is different. The first method sends email without attachment, second method sends email with attachment. Overloading is helping us to achieve polymorphism. Polymorphism means sending email feature works in two ways. When a feature can be implemented in multiple ways, polymorphism. Now, if I want to call the first method, we will now write here a1, create an object a1 is equal to new a1 dot send email. Give some email ID, mike@gmail.com. Let's give the subject. The subject is test, and let's give a message welcome. Which one will it call? The first one. Very good. Now suppose I give the file path. I want to attach a file present in my C drive. There is a file called as test.png image file. Which one will it call now? Is it calling second one? Did you all get this, guys? Online students, did you all get this? Please tell me. Offline students, did you understand overloading concept here now? Yes? Are you all clear with this part, overloading concept? Please tell me. Please read the notes carefully here. Now, firstly, read what is overloading. Okay. Here we develop more than one method with same name in same class provided they have different number of arguments or example. That's what we did. Yes or no? Okay. Everyone clear with this part? Any doubts? No. So now how many oops concept have we covered? What are the two concepts we covered? Inheritance and polymorphism. Right? Now we are going to look at the next concept in Java, final keyword. Now what is this final keyword? Let's try to understand this, explore this line by line. Now final keyword, firstly, if you make a variable final, then we cannot change its value. What does it mean? Here, let me first delete all the other things. Okay. Now, let's go back here. Now I have a variable x. Is it a local variable? Non-static? Static? Huh? Non-static. Who said non-static? It's a local variable. Where is it created? Inside a method. Any variable created inside method is what? Now I'm changing the value. Am I able to change the value? Is it giving me any error? It was 100. Change the value to 200. Now make it final. What do you see? When you're changing the value of the variable, you see here now what happened. We ended up getting an error. When you're changing the value of the variable, changing value of variable is not allowed if it is final. Final keyword makes the variable constant, meaning Once the variable is final, its value cannot be changed. Now let's say the value is 10. Again, if you are changing with 10, still error. You change with some same value or different value. It's an error. Remove this. Am I able to change the value? Put this back. What do you see? Read this line number 1. Is this clear? Now let's understand why an error in this program. Final variable value cannot be. Is this clear? Everyone? Sure? Any doubts? No doubts. Now, next thing. If you make static, non-static variable final, then initialization is mandatory. What do you mean by that? Okay. I'm creating a non-static variable. What is the default value? Very good. What is the default value? 0. If I don't initialize, it takes a default value. Excellent. But now, if I make it final, what it says, if non-static variable is made final, then this initialization is mandatory. Until and unless you don't initialize this with 100 or some value, this error will not be gone. Are you understanding now? This error will not be gone. If you now notice here, I'm initializing with 0, error gone. Remove error. Remove error. Make this final, error. Why? Initialization is mandatory. Are you understanding now? Value cannot change, but you can't even leave the variable blank. These errors are called as blank field errors. What are they called as? Blank field errors. If a non-static variable and static variable is made final, then they are called as blank field errors. What are they called as? Okay, that is what the meaning is. So observe, if you make static non-static variable final, then initialization is, observe, why error? Not initialized. These errors are called as, did you understand? Everyone got this point? Yes? Sure? Okay. Third one. If you make a method final, then overriding is not allowed. What do you mean by that? You know overriding concept? What is overriding? First you have to do inheritance. Then modify logic of inherited method. So let's build here a method, public, void and test. So if you want to override, same method you create, but ensure, correct, at the rate, observe now. What do you see here? Correct? Error is there. Save. There should not be any error because overriding is happening, yes or no? But now make it final. Am I able to override? If you make a method final, what is not possible? Overriding is not possible. If you make a method final, then overriding is, and hence we see here an error. I hope this part is clear. Everybody got this part? Okay. So let us now continue further. Okay. If you make a class final, then inheritance is not allowed. Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's make the class as final. Right. Let's make a class as final. What do you see? Is inheritance happening? Remove. Is inheritance happening? Put it back final. Inheritance happening? So what do you understand by this? Read all 4 points. Did you understand? So I'm slightly not well today. I'll wind up the class little early. Okay. After this, I'm not going to continue. So I'll see you tomorrow only after this topic. Is this clear? Slightly. I'm tired. So I don't want to see any students now. I'm bored of seeing students. Okay. So I'll take some break and then probably we shall continue tomorrow. Okay. Fine. Anyways, see this example. Y error. This one. Very good. Initialization not done. This one. Very good. Overriding cannot happen. This one. The next concept is a very serious concept called as interfaces in Java. Okay. Which we will be seeing it in our tomorrow's class. Fine, guys.